Shares of Rockstar Games' parent company Take-Two Interactive jumped after rumors that Sony could be in talks to acquire the company began circulating in investing circles. MarketWatch reports that Take-Two Interactive stock saw a 7% increase based on the rumor that Sony is currently in advanced board-level discussions to acquire Take-Two Interactive in a mostly cash deal, according to Wedbush Securities, head of technology and media trading Joe Culino. It deal be a sizable acquisition, and one that would value the company at $130 a share according to those same sources. While just a rumor at this point, the move would significantly bolster Sony's first-party development forces and mirror some of the efforts made by fellow console maker Microsoft through its recent acquisitions of Obsidian Entertainment and several other studios. Pathia Games, developer behind the role-playing game My Time at Potion, has come under fire over reportedly withholding payments to its voice actors for several months. Although seemingly resolved at this point, this is still important to highlight, especially since developers, both big and small, should pay their workers and contractors a fair, agreed upon rate in a timely manner. The problem seems to date back as far as October 2018, where the treatment of My Time at Potion's voice actors was detailed in a Steam thread, which has since been logged. Most of the issues seem to revolve around compensation, with the author of the post writing how voice actors were reportedly being paid only $50 for 100 plus lines of voiced dialogue. A handful of voice actors took to Twitter to express their dismay over how Pathia Games has handled the situation thus far. As of January 19th, My Time at Potion is at number 1 in the Steam Global Top Sellers list, leading men to wonder if the sales from those copies sold are finally being used to pay contractors. Pathia Games has put out a statement over the issue as well, explaining how it was an oversight issued with one of our designers, although it's unclear if that means that designer forgot about the voice actors, or they did not oversee the actors properly. Cannot write that long comment here on Twitter, so please see the content in the picture below. For the voice acting issue, we are facing MYTIMEATPORT at a peak. Twitter, Gamasutra. Ion Games is a crowd-funded series about research and applications of artificial intelligence in video games. If you like my work, please consider supporting the show over on Patreon for early access and behind-the-scenes updates. When creating a video game, we are driven by a desire to craft a fun and interesting experiences for players, to put them in those areas or reach at familiar ones. Now, sometimes in order to put that off, we have to treat a little bit. We make tweaks gameplay systems or concessions in how a certain feature is built to reinforce the pillars of the game's design, and this applies just as much to non-player characters. Alien Isolation Xenomorph, that has short-range sensors in the back of its head and a director that always knows where you are. The enemies in Far Cry that become less accurate the more that are fighting you are the demons in Doom that patiently wait their turn to tear you to shreds. It might sound counterintuitive, but by limiting a character's behavior, or giving them knowledge and skills they should not otherwise have, sometimes makes sense in reinforcing the player's experience. And this brings me to Ubisoft's Ghost Recon Wildlands, an open-world action game released in 2017 that has players slowly dismantle the Santa Blanca drug cartel. In this article, I am going to talk about the 3 AI-controlled non-player characters that work alongside the player when playing Ghost Recon Wildlands offline. Hold. Midas and Weaver. This Ghost Squad needs to be able to respond to player commands and react to the world around them, but also maintain the power fantasy that the game delivers as you stealthily take down entire enemy command posts, roll in with the attack helicopter and blow everything to pieces. It's an interesting design problem and is arguably one of the most prominent examples in recent memory where an AI frequently cheats, not because it needs to be able to do what you'd expect of it, but because as players we have low tolerance for their failure. The AI squad mates throughout the Ghost Recon series are built to support the player and reinforce the experience of being a covert operative that sneaks into installations and eliminates opposing forces. This includes being able to spawn targets for the player, synchronized kill shots of multiple enemies on your command as well as holding their own when everything goes loud. Ghost Recon Wildlands takes this premise and blows it up with a massive increase in scale, and this presents a real problem for game designers. Unlike more recent entries such as Ghost Recon Future Soldier, the number of unique circumstances that can arise has grown exponentially, and this is in part due to the systemic gameplay systems that drive weather, patrolling enemies and rebels, civilians and more. Players can attack encampments from any angle they like and approach it using a variety of tools at their disposal. So the AI systems for friendly characters need to accommodate and in some instances relax their rules or outright cheat to support the fantasy that Ghost Recon promises. Now, all character AI in Ghost Recon Wildlands is reliant on a behavior tree system, with the friendly AI running a much more sophisticated system than the enemies. I am not going to focus on the actual behavior tree implementation this time around, but instead explore the design rules enforced and the supporting systems that help control your AI buddies. The buddy AI in Wildlands was headed up by a small team at Ubisoft Montpellier whose design philosophy put player at the center of all friendly AI behavior, and dictating the systems that were built and how they would operate. This philosophy was built atop 3 pillars. All of this is designed to reinforce one rule: to keep players in control of the experience and not feel like the game's systems are not doing what they want them at a certain point in time. In each instance, the player dictates the behavior of this AI characters either directly or indirectly, and in an effort to reinforce the fantasy each of these circumstances creates, either sneaking past the enemy, gunning them down, or reviving us when needed. The friendly AI repeatedly cheats to achieve it, and this requires numerous gameplay systems as well as specific concessions in both the friendly and enemy AI to pull this off, as detailed in Matthias Rowland's 2017 Gaming Off Talk. Teammate management is composed of 3 gameplay systems that drive the Ghost Squad AI. All 3 systems regularly interact with the player through the companion characters and have control over how they behave and operate within the space. So if I was to attack a given base, such as this one in the screenshot above, it's a pretty busy location. There are enemies, vehicles, and no doubt patrols and guard posts set up in the area. As I move closer, the overload system kicks in and starts to identify all enemies within roughly 100 meters of where I am standing. It's not just storing how far away they are, but also whether I and the rest of the Ghost Squad have line of sight on them. Meanwhile, Midas, Weaver sneak up to the base behind me in order to know where to go. My player character is leaving spots on the navigation mesh, like breadcrumbs for these guys to follow. Upon reaching the camp, they take instructions from the overlord has to have to move through the space. Having gathered all the information it needs about enemy characters in proximity, the Overlord knows what areas of the map the Ghost Squad should not move into so as to not be spotted. It's at this point one of the team warns me about the chopper overhead, so I need to lie down until it clears. But it does not matter for the squad, because while I am in stealth mode and not spotted, they are invisible to the enemy. The Overlord is helping them appear to look like they are being stealthy until I either command them to move into a location where they are then spotted, or I am spotted myself. They will continue to remain invisible while I have been moving towards the camp. The smart recon system registers nearby props, such as anti-air defenses and power generators,